Welcome back to Daily Flash. I am Mitch English. Listen, we all know that bees, they play a huge and critical role in humanity and in the environment, all by supporting the growth of trees, flowers, food crops, and so much more. But did you ever think that you actually can learn smart money behavior from bees? Yeah, you can. So guess what? We need to get an expert, and we have one on call. It's Hank the Bee Guy joining us from Canada. Hank, welcome back to the show. How you been, man?
Amazing, Mitch. Thanks for having me today.
We love having you on because your passion for bees, it just exudes. So much so, we can learn so much, as mentioned, about investment strategies. You got to tell me what you're talking about when it comes from watching bees and learning about investing. Tell me.
About 3 years ago, totally by accident, of course, my wife and I are working, and we start realizing that a lot of the lessons that we're learning about the bees are consistent with what happens with our investing. And so we started following along and doing what the bees are doing, came up with 10 rules. At the same time, we started having amazing grandkids. And so we said, financial literacy is important today. How can we get the lessons from the beehive into our opportunity for our grandchildren to learn and other young people? And that's why we wrote the book. So it's kind of a colliding of coincidence that we didn't think it through. It just happened.
I love this. And the name of the book is called What Grandpa Learned from His Honeybees. I open the book up. What am I learning when I go through this?
Well, there's 3 steps to there's 10 lessons that take away the emotion of being smart with your money. The first is we do a bee lesson. So we tell you something about honeybees, what they do and how they vote, for example, on where they're going to live after a swarm. And then the next step in the chapter, we talk about smart money. So what is a smart money lesson from the hive? And then the third one is about investing. So what does that teach us about investing from that lesson? So there's 10 lessons from the hive, takes away the emotional, issue of money and just makes it a lot easier. Even myself, 40 years of investing, the 10 lessons take away all the emotions. It's nice to be able to relax when you think about money.
Well, it really is. And we're in a time right now where people are like, they're getting a little tight on their money, which they shouldn't be because it is all about investing. And there's highs and lows. And do you see that with the bees? Because when we think of bees, we think of worker bees. They're constantly working. How are the bees doing this year? And, specifically, what can we take away from each bee or maybe how the hierarchy is in a beehive as far as investing goes?
We're natural beekeepers, so I've kind of come to a conclusion of what we're doing here. There's natural or there's livestock. So we're natural beekeepers. And the number one rule of a beehive is survival. Okay. And when we move that into money management, and instead of a percent return or how much I'm making on my money, the first question to ask is, if I do this with my money, how likely am I to get it back? Because for bees, honey is money. And every day when they get up, I say get up, but sometimes they're up all the time. Their job is to go out and get as much food and resources so they can survive. So when you think of survival, that's the number one thing. And what we've learned here on the farm is providing a variety of food and a safe space for them is the key to their survival.
This is a live shot right outside there. By the way, I'm going to make up a T-shirt that says "Honey is money." I love that. Unless you beat me to it.
I'll get you one.
All right, thank you. All right, this is what it looks like right now, and you can take this. This is a live shot from your farm here, and it kind of shows you that the bees are constantly doing this, constantly working, making it happen. There's no Bernie bee Madoff or anything inside one of these hives, is there? Where he's going to turn them into a triangle, or a pyramid, or anything, right?
Well, no. But what's exciting is one of the lessons is what do you do when you get attacked? In other words, how do you handle threats to yourself in finance and other? And what the bees do when the wasps come in, the bees don't destroy the wasp. They give them a sting or two and then they drag them out because they want the wasp to go home and tell all the other wasps, don't mess with that hive because they're tough. And a lot of what we see when we're attacked as people, if we follow the same strategy, and I talk about it in the book with real estate lawyers, and we've had a few incidents where we've had to use real estate lawyers to be like the honeybees and fight back legally. It really gives you some relaxation when you know there's a path for that when people try to take advantage of you. So we learn so much from them every day. We're very lucky to be able to interact with our bees on a daily basis.
That analogy you mentioned with the wasp and the bees, actually same plot for West Side Story. I don't know if you knew that or not. So, okay, you know what I love is that you get so many people excited, especially kids. You know, they want to learn about bees, and they will in their school. And it's so neat how you're like, okay, you bring them into this, and then you're like, hey, while you're here, you know, we can actually learn about finance, which is something we're not teaching our kids in school anymore. So I applaud you on that. Anything else?
Well, thank you.
I think it's a great idea. We're going to, of course, have a link to our website to find out how you can get this book. Anything else new on the farm right now, Hank?
Yeah, well, we just finished swarm season, so the bees were, and that's how bees reproduce. They create a swarm, they go out and look for a new home. So we've had a bunch of swarms, and they've chosen to live with us. So we have 5 new families. We just put out these homes, and then they vote and choose. Although one I shook in, that's on Instagram. I couldn't resist. It was a big swarm, so I tried to sort of capture them. We'll see how that turns out. But generally, we just open up our place and let the bees come. And we've had a number of swarms come, and the natural beekeeping's been great this year. I think it's the habitat, the flowers. We have so many of them out there.
Hank Svec, he's the bee guy. Thank you so much. Wildflowerbeefarm.com. Invest like a honeybee, and that is where you can get the book and even see the live cam. Teach your kids something this summer. Thank you, Hank.
Thanks, Mitch.